the credit. I don't know if you guys like, that's a whole nother can of worms, like credit and debt and stuff, but once you get into college, that's like really important to understand and to know. So think of that when you're going places. Like, I got to go here for free, which is why I went here, but other people, you know, went to Harvard and have the same degree that I do, but I don't have any crushing debt, and they have like 35 years worth. So it's just something to think about. Was there something else that you needed?
Yeah, there was one other thing. So most of them are going to write a blog post about, well, it depends. The subject matter is up to them, but they likely won't necessarily interview someone or go to an event. So could you talk a little bit about writing a blog post on something that you have to research as opposed to something you physically or in person observe? So like, for example, Luke is going to do...
Which one's Luke?
I don't know.
Okay.
Is she Luke? Yeah. Luke is going to write about Mill Creek.
Okay.
So obviously he can go there. But is there something about Mill Creek? You talked about...
yeah, like the preservation of its ecology and stuff like that.
Preservation. So that is a topic that you can't necessarily research at Mill Creek physically. You can experience it, but to learn about preservation, you're going to be reading about articles and things like that. So, is your question related to this? Okay, hold on one second. So, talk about how he can write a blog post about what he finds online.
Okay.
And then your question.
Are we talking about just Youngstown, like this area of Youngstown, or Youngstown as a whole, including Youngstown as a whole?
No, Youngstown City proper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for something like that, that's actually a really good topic because I don't know if you guys follow the news as much as I do, but you've heard all about how national parks are getting defunded, how we're kind of running low on conservation techniques, things of that sort. So okay, it's hard. When you are looking for stuff like that, Mill Creek Park is considered a quote-unquote national park. So if you look up Mill Creek Park conservation, you might get something that says Mill Creek Park, among others, including the Redwood Forest and Yellowstone National Park, are under X title, which means you can't ruin any trees or hunt any animals or whatever. So when you get information like that online and want to kind of put it together cognitively, like say you're going to talk about the preservation of the trees, the purification of the water, that's a W, and the animals. Say like those are the three things you're talking about when you come into like conservation. You're going to find articles online that talk about the conservation of these things in Mill Creek Park, and then you're going to cite it. The same way, if you're in class and you're writing a paper about Shakespeare, you can't be like, I said that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, like Juliet or whatever that line is. You're going to have to say, so-and-so said that trees are being conserved in Mill Creek Park to help keep the water pure. So you just have to say where you got that information. And normally, you have to let me know if this isn't being like a cognitive train of thought, because everything sometimes makes sense to me, but when I say it to other people, I want to make sure you guys are following me. So like, don't hesitate to stop and like, put your hand up. So what I normally do, you have your main idea, you have the parts that you want to write about, find information on those parts, and then put it in a way that you would want to hear it. So we say you find out, oh man, there's a ton of animals that are doing really well in Mill Creek Park since this conservation effort began. That's going to be what you start with. Like 10,000 deer were in Mill Creek Park because of the new conservation effort in 2017 to keep the park up and running. According to, I don't know, abc.com, the preservation of national parks has helped animal growth worldwide, including right here in our backyard. And then you could always go back and talk about maybe like the purification of the water, keeping it clean and keeping it not polluted, and then maybe protecting the trees from a certain bug that kills them. So you just want to kind of like take all this information that you find the things that really stick out and that spark your interest or that seem like a big deal, and then reword it in your way and just say where you got your sources. Does that make sense, everyone?
So when you're saying where you got your sources, is it enough to just have it in the text, like according to blah 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 from abc.com, or do you need to like put like a footnote at the bottom where you got it?
No, you don't need to put a footnote. That's like academic writing, which When you're a journalist, you don't have to do that, so keep that in mind. But you can always say, according to The Economist, pollution is at an all-time high. So you're just saying where you got that information. Because if you just say pollution is at an all-time high, someone's going to be like, says who? Like, who said that? I could say, I don't know, that backpack is the best looking backpack in the world, but no one's going to believe me unless I say, I don't know, Queen Elizabeth said that this backpack is the best backpack in the world in an interview with NBC News. Because then you know it's coming from somewhere that's reliable. And you don't want to say like, Wikipedia said, unless you actually go through the sources and find where it came from originally. But good question. As long as it's in there somewhere. I would say not put footnotes, just from so-and-so, they said this, according to, from this website. Not like, here's my work, and then be like, from NBC. But good question.
I think so. No. No. Like Friends Riverside, not Friends, but
Fellows?
the Fellows Riverside Gardens. Yeah, I think they're separate. They're a separate entity. Yeah.
Yeah, they were donated by Elizabeth Fellows.
Oh,
Thought we were related, but we're not.
really? Oh. Any other questions for Gabby? No?
You would think that if it were 300 or 500 words, that no one would really read it, except for those who really enjoy reading blogs.
How much do you think is a good word count?
Not too much.
Because 100 words is a paragraph. 300 words is 3 paragraphs. 500 words is 5 paragraphs. If you're doing your schoolwork, are you more likely to read 5 paragraphs or are you more likely to read 30 pages?
Depends on the material.
That's true. That's why you pick what you like and write around 300 to 500 words about it. Because that's the average amount that someone will read before getting bored. I spent 4 years studying this. There's always things that are changing. People want to read tweets more than they want to read blog posts. But the point is that people that are going to be looking at this are people that are going to want to move here, that are going to want to be interested. And those people are going to share it. And then people who might not be the ones that go to the website and purposely look up the preservation of Mill Creek Park are then going to read it and then be like, oh wow, that is really interesting. I wish I would have thought about that sooner, or I want to know more about it. I'm going to look it up. So I know it kind of seems, no, it doesn't really seem like a lot. Because you guys are, what, 9th and 10th graders? You've written like really long papers and you know how they drag. But this is on something that you like. This is something that you're just going to research about. And if you get the information, just changing it around so that it's your words isn't going to be a horrible assignment if this is what this is considered.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And Gabby, hopefully, will be editing your work.
That's fine.
You get paid for it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Go
I
ahead.
have one more quick one. Are blog posts, are they like increasing in popularity?
Yeah, blogs, because a lot of things can be considered a blog. If you go online and read a news story, that's technically a blog, because it's just an independent site that's putting up content. But people now, if you ever go on Pinterest and you look up like mom blogs are a huge thing now, or vegan fitness blogs, or anything under the sun that you might be interested in, like you got Dance Squad. You're like, I love dance and I want to know more about someone who's maybe like an independent dancer. Someone who is on Broadway might write their own blog about their experience being a dancer, and it just gives you an insight that you don't have elsewhere. And since humans are innately curious, you're like, heck yeah, I want to know about that, especially if that's something that I'm interested in or that I want to do. Like I read blogs on, I'm a big person, I love reading, so I read blogs on the newest books that I should be reading. And if it's only like a little bit, you like breeze through it and you're like, oh man, I want to read that book. So because there's a huge availability, then more people want to read it because there's something for everyone. So,
Are there specific sites for blogs, or can you just make one anywhere?
for, like say if you wanted to start one yourself, or just to look it up. Oh, you're good. Well, YSU has something called, what a lot of schools do, it's like the Odyssey, and that's